So who we have coming up next is like the queen of girlness, and I love her to death. Justine Pogroske is the $1 million brander. And she, oh my gosh, Justine!
Hello, beautiful ladies. How are you?
It is like early morning in Australia. Is the sun up already?
It's up. I'm up, so the sun's up. I'm kind of controlling it. I'm kind of controlling it from lockdown because we're in a very serious lockdown at the moment with COVID. So
My heart goes out to
as you
you,
too.
Justine.
Thank you, Ava.
Oh my, Michelle, I would love to give you the privilege to say how amazing Justine is. From
As
I
are
would
you, ladies.
I would certainly be honored. If nobody knows this, Justine Pogroske is the $1 million brander. But more importantly, branding is the wave of the future, folks. And what she does is she's able to see you and your product and your service in such an authentic tone. And she wants to frame you around your purpose. And I think that's something so powerful because people want to connect. I think we had an earlier speaker who talked about how people don't buy products, they buy people, they buy who they are. And I think that really speaks to your work, Justine. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So important. So important.
So would you mind sharing with us a little bit about your journey, about branding, but more importantly, where you're going in your life? You're definitely an inspiration for so many. In fact, if anyone listens to a room or is listening to a podcast or is on a show and you're on it, the word inspiration always happens. And we all know that you cannot have motivation without inspiration. Can you speak to a little bit about your journey and also where it's headed?
Sure, Michelle. Thank you so much, firstly, and it's such an honor to be here with such amazing women because I think of the exact same word when I see both you and Ava and Miko. You're just powerhouses. So very grateful, very blessed, and honored to know all of you. Very excited for your journeys too. I must apologize if my little chihuahuas bark in the background. I've tried to teach them as best as possible to behave. So my journey, I started off in a publishing company and then went on to work for a lot of really amazing advertising firms. I've been very blessed. So a lot of the top companies, big TV station in Australia, big publishing company. And then I decided I didn't want to exchange time for money building other people up. Although it was great experience because I think as an entrepreneur, you get one shot. And it's about really embracing your skill and your ability. And I really enjoy people. I absolutely love people. So for me, branding is an art. Like I get to take these companies, from literally zero to hero and turn them into $1 million brands, which is just the best. It's so exciting. So my company is called $1 Million Branders. I started it a couple of years ago and we build brand empires for the experience age. And I think where I'm headed is I really want to empower entrepreneurs who have that fire and have that drive to take their business to the next level, but just don't know how because branding is such an overused word, I think, in today's times. And if I can show them the right way branding should be used and marketing should be used and take them to the world, that's really living my dream and my passion. That's a little bit about me.
Wow, that's so empowering because a lot of times people think of branding as something that is put upon them or that branding is a mold that they have to fit in. But it sounds like the journey is quite different in your eyes. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And I think, a lot of people, there's a lot of carbon copies in branding. And I think if you can embrace your differences and really stand out, so many, you get, for instance, like, I have to say, I do love the Kardashians. They're so smart. They've built an empire, but don't just be like someone else. You have to be unique, because often your unique selling points, like the things that make you different that we try and hide, those are the things that are really going to make you great in your brand, in your business, in your company. I would say, like, just don't be another carbon copy. You know, I have a bit of a funny accent. I came from South Africa when I was 12 years old. And I think that that's my point of difference. You know, when people hear me, you know, a lot of people, for instance, you know, they shame themselves because of their accents, but it's actually so beautiful. It's so worldly. So things like that can be a very unique selling point to your brand.
So sorry, Ava.
It's okay. Thank you. I actually have a story to that. So a while ago, we actually had someone in the audience who his goal is to raise 1 million Africans to compete in the world market. So he actually has a platform teaching Africans how to do the online platform. And he said that his story was that he was in San Francisco. He was selling used cars, and he was struggling because he's from Africa, and he has that accent. And he was struggling to sell a car, and for the longest time he had this mindset that, you know, like, I can't sell because, you know, they know right away that it's an African on the phone, you know, and I don't have their trust and they won't buy from me. And then, you know, out of desperation, he decided to just make fun of his accent. And he said, you know, are you ready for something sexy? Because you're going to have the sexiest accent on this phone call. And then the person would laugh, and that would break the tension. And he was like number 2 seller that year, the moment he decided to own his difference. The moment he decided, yes, and then the moment that when he saw that that's actually working to his favor, you know, and they call it a sexy accent, you know, and then he dominated that market for, like, I think 6 years, you know, and so now he's actually teaching how to pop the cherry from the point where you just have all of the negative things that you think is about you, you know, to just popping that cherry, because the moment you see, you know, money coming to in your account, you're gonna start believing differently. And I feel like we're branding ourselves 24 hours every day.
We are. We walk, we talk, we club with the way even we dress. You know, like I was speaking to Michelle. It's like, you know, your brand colors are so important. Like, even behind, I mean, don't look at me now because I'm at home, but you'd actually laugh because my house is pretty much in my brand colors, and I'm not kidding. I'm just a recovering perfectionist, that's all. But, you know, like your brand colors. So you'll often see me wearing black, gold, and white. Those are my colors of my company and my brand. And very rarely you'll see me in a color with my sexy accent.
Yes. With your sexy accent. Yes. So you said that, Justine, that you're branching off, or actually you've always done this, but now you're doing it in the official capacity of helping companies. And I'm wondering if there's a thread between a person coming to you and saying, Justine, I want $1 million branders to brand me. And you start asking questions, and all of a sudden you realize that perhaps they may not know their business too well, or it may not be as organized as it is. And yet they've made all these connections. Say, for instance, you know, they grow, we're going to call it, you know, they grow some kind of berry, and they have these indigenous people that they're making sure that they're getting the right price for their berries. And then they've made all these connections of it, but yet they haven't really figured out how their business works. Do you have that handed to you often? And is this why you found this great purpose?
I always, you know, advertising is such an amazing thing, because you can literally, like with those berries, when you were speaking, I was just thinking off the top of my head, well, they actually do know their business because they've already done that user testing and that customer testing. If someone's buying that berry, they've got a business right there. So they actually do know their business. But I get that all the time. So I've worked with Fortune 500s who want to get from here to here and like even push it further. I've worked from companies who have zero and nothing, where I will take them from, you know, like naming their company or renaming their company to a logo and a tagline and a brand. You know, you think Nike, or you think, like all the iconic brands, you know, like Chanel, they've only branded once. Chanel is an icon. It's been around for a long time. How many times have they actually changed their logo? Because it's so iconic. When Coco Chanel created it, it was so simple. Like a lot of people get caught up in the noise, and it's so important with a brand to keep it timeless, you know, and if you can do that and also test your brands on customers. You know, a lot of the time, like I can't even watch Shark Tank sometimes. I don't know if it's called the same thing in the States, but you'll get these entrepreneurs that will go up on stage. And have you ever seen the shark say, "What is your business worth?" And they give some ridiculous number like 25 million and, you know, 599 cents. And you're like, how do you get that? And then the shark says, "Well, have you tested? Have you made a sale? Have you tested on your customers? How many products have you sold?" And they go 0. And then the shark's like, "I'm out." Because so many people make that mistake with a brand. They build a brand for them. They don't build a brand for their customer.
That's incredible. And so it really has to do with you help them to really find their purpose then, right? Because
Absolutely.
If you're looking outside yourself, then you're not connected to that higher purpose. At least that's how I think of things.
100%.
And so I feel like your business model and your goal and your higher purpose in life is so important, because I don't know a lot of companies, to tell you the truth. I don't know a lot of talent even that have what you have, and your skills and your clear view. You're almost clairvoyant with how you see people. And not a lot of people can see that and then verbalize that and say, listen, I'll take you to where you want to be. Because quite frankly, when I hear $1 million branders, I think of multi-million-dollar branders. You know, anyone that gets in your hands, I know this for a fact, I've seen them, they just go off to bigger and better things. But what you're showing is the value, right? The value in the person. Absolutely. And finding that higher values. And Justine, I just wanted to ask you one more question. I'm shooting a lot at you, and but I guess, well, that's what we're supposed to do.
Honored. Shoot them.
All right. So my question to you is, how is it that you can help companies to also understand that they need to be a player in helping humanity in the planet? A lot of companies are shifting brands towards that because they know that worldwide humanity doesn't really want to trust a company or a brand or buy things unless there's that some kind of component. So sometimes companies will come to you and say, hey, I want you to add some humanitarian effort. How do you connect the dots to let them connect with something that actually they believe in, that they'll buy in, and that they'll support?
So I love this question because I was just speaking about it yesterday on a Clubhouse panel, and we were talking about heart-centered brands. I personally cannot work on a brand that I don't believe in. Like, I've turned away clients because I don't resonate, or they don't resonate, you know, like with the right, like they're not in line with their higher purpose. But I think it's so important when you are building a brand, you have to believe in it. Your customers are much smarter than you give them credit. Like, they will pick it up. They will literally know and feel if you're being authentic or not. And it's not just good enough to show up as a brand anymore. You have to go over the edge. And what I mean when I say that is, if you are aligning with the charity, or you're being an ambassador for that charity, make sure that you're actually serving them for a good purpose. Like, what are you, like, tie in your higher purpose with that brand. Your customers are going to smell it out. Like, they'll smell it. They're smart these days. I
love that. They're smarter than you realize. So basically, Absolutely. You're saving companies from themselves.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I think every single brand we look at these days is like, you know, you have to be heart-centered, because you're not going to connect with your audience. You know, we've just gone through COVID. You're not going to connect with the right customers. Like, customers want to know that they're doing good in the world, most of them. And most of them who I know, a lot of the big companies are doing so much for the environment. They're starting to realize, you know, like the world is actually going through a lot of transition right now, a lot of pain. Like, I'm very spiritual too, but that's my higher purpose. You know, like, I really want to drive brands to do better, because I think we can all do better at you know, being brands and businesses.
Justine, I think you touched on something that's also really important that I'd like to shed some light on. There are a lot of companies and organizations that actually do good work, but yet not a lot of people know this. And so it sounds like you have to kind of reverse engineer, as Shmika always likes to say. You have to kind of help them to see the importance. Is that correct? Of the fact that, hey, why aren't you sharing all of this? This is what people want. How does that feed you? How do you recharge when you're connected with this? This takes a lot of work. There's a lot of moving parts. How do you recharge your superpower? Because this is a huge superpower that you've been given, actually multiple.
Firstly, I just want to touch on something that you said before, because I think when you're doing good in the world as a company, it's so much better if you honor your own integrity as a brand. Other people will speak about you. So you got to make sure that everything you touch, everything you wear, everything, you think, everything people feel about you is congruent with your message, your energy, and your spirit, because you'll create a raving fan. You'll create a community that will love you, that will follow you, that will be loyal to you. So firstly, that's that. How do I recharge? I think I mentioned that I got into bodybuilding. So this was a couple of years ago. I reached a stage of complete burnout. And I'm actually proud to talk about this because I think a lot of us do this. It's like Groundhog Day. You can work so hard. The reality is it's very important to have money because money changes the world. I think of money as a great tool to enable us to change other lives. So it is important that you have it. But I think in terms of looking after yourself, your health, you get one life. You got to make sure you drink water. You got to make sure that you go to the gym. So my outlet, how I honor myself and how I take care of myself. And I was telling Miko the other day, I am so on point with my exercise. I exercise twice a day. I'm not kidding. At least 5 days a week. In the morning when I wake up, before I meditate, and then I go for a walk. I take my dogs for a walk. Then I do work. So I'll work all day in block hours. I'll take a break at least every hour. Now it's actually more often. I take a break every 20 minutes. And then when I finish work, I come home and I will go to gym. And even when I'm tired, I think, Michelle, we were having this conversation the other day, you have to train your mind in those moments where you go, I don't want to go to gym, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to drink water. It's so important that you do, because your body is like a machine. It's a machine, and you got to oil it, and you got to look after it, because you only get one. So health for me is a non-negotiable. And I know if I'm at my best and I'm at my healthiest, then my work will be better. My team will be better. My clients will be better. I can help more people. That's just a non-negotiable for me. And I think that's how I empower myself, because healthy body, healthy mind.
That is so beautiful, Justine. And you mentioned right now you're still in lockdown in Australia, and we're not quite sure when that will be lifted. And so certainly when you're in lockdown or stay-at-home order for those of you around the world, that also means that you cannot go to the gym. And yet you're still saying, hey, I'm still exercising twice a day. I'm still taking breaks. You're taking care of yourself. This is an international reach, this summit. What do you have to share to all of those men and women that are listening right now, that are in your situation and going, why does she look so put together? How do I do that? How do I get out of bed? There's going to be moments when you just don't want to get out of bed. Can you just speak to them about recharging?
Absolutely. So I think it's not even a matter of just recharging on a momentary basis, right? It has to be built into your life, every single day. And Michelle, by all means, I'm far from perfect, and I will be a student until the day I die, and I'm mastering every single bit of my life. And I want to be a student until the day I die. So I may look put together, but deep down, I'm going to be vulnerable. I also have those really crap days. I don't want to get out of bed, but I will not let my mind control me. The one thing that I'm truly blessed with, and anyone who knows me will tell you this, is my mindset is second to none. You cannot tell me that I can't do something. It was really funny. I was watching an interview with Elon Musk, And also, like they were saying, you reached a few stages in your career where you were you could have given up. And he was like, it wasn't an option for me. And then I watched an interview with Kanye West. They always say have confidence like Kanye, right? Because they were asking him, they were saying like, if you, if you couldn't sing, what would you do? Like, do you think you could do anything else? He's like, I could go to the NBA if I wanted to. And they're like, no, you can't. You can't be a basketball player. And he was like, I can do anything I want. And you know what? I know that is a gift that I have. My mindset is a gift, but I work damn hard on that mindset. So what I would say to those people in lockdown or going through a hard time in their life, like surround yourself with amazing people who are going to lift your soul, who are going to lift your spirit. Like I have a very small circle. I'm very, very careful with my energy and who I let into my life. I'm far from perfect, but those people will lift your spirit, number one. Like you amazing ladies, I'm so blessed to have you in my life. You got to venture outside your comfort zone and surround yourself with things that are going to really feed your mind. So, YouTube has so much free stuff on motivation. When I'm feeling bad, I just go on there, I type in motivation or getting out of a ditch, and it just all this amazing stuff comes up. And books, oh my God, I love books. So there are so many great books out there that you can just read that are so just good for your soul. And you actually mentioned, I can't, it looks amazing. I can't watch it from Australia because we're capped, but there was a movie, Michelle, what was it called? The one about the heart.
The Power of the Heart.
Power of the Heart.
Yes.
So that just looks amazing. And I can't wait to watch that. I have to work out a way how to do that, but that's
I'm heartbroken that you don't have access to it.
That looks amazing. But I truly believe in law of attraction. I believe in being in line with your purpose. And I cannot stress enough how important mindset is, like just through everything. Work on your mindset. That will get you through.
Justine, I'm going to have to love on you right now. So you'll have to please forgive me here. You are a best-selling author, and you are also almost done with another book for this year. Can you give us a little glimpse as to what that's going to be and what we have to look forward to, so that can be a best-selling book as well?
Thank you so much. So my current book, I'm going to have to swear, I'm so sorry. It's called Make Shit Happen. It's available on Amazon. You can go get it. Very, very much just about mindset and also branding and how to stand out. This book, I think, is going to be quite iconic, and it's going to be very interesting, and I hope people love it because I love it and I've loved putting it together. It's called The Bankable Brand: How to Build a Brand Empire for the Experience Age. So we'll be out definitely this year, and can't wait to share it with you amazing ladies.
Oh, wonderful. Shmiko, you're here.
And Dr. Jill is here too.
And Dr. Jill. Woo-hoo!
I just wanted to come in and honor Justine, and as well as Dr. Jill. I wasn't an opportunity to speak earlier, and wow, just the nuggets, how this has evolved. But more importantly, what I took away from Justine, that mindset, lifting souls and spirits, encouraging each other. Dr. Jill knows all about that, enjoying life. I see that right behind her, and I tell you, it just amazes me that we have had such a phenomenal panel today that have poured and poured into others, but more importantly, into each other. And I love what Justine just mentioned. Surround yourself with people that are encouraging you, that are speaking life into you, that are lifting you, and more importantly, that are helping others to do the same. We're in this world right now where we're all online and we're encouraging each other. We're leaders building leaders. We're helping people help people. But more importantly, we're looking out for those that are coming behind us, which is our youth. And that's what's key right now, because where are we going to be in 50 years or 100 years? And more importantly, hear me sitting at 53 years old. I'm like, who's going to take care of us? Who's going to understand?
53? Come on.
I know, it's hard to believe
about it. You're aging like a fine wine.
Or Dorian Gray.
Yes.
But it shows us that we can collaborate together and just enjoy. But we're hearing from all different spectrums. We've heard from medical field. We've heard from the media. We're hearing about branding and marketing. We're hearing about money. And I'll tell you what's exciting is this whole mix was on purpose. We're all here together. And I heard Justine loud and clear when she talked about the law of attraction. And we all know that we can manifest and we can bring these things together. But more importantly, when we find each other, we find these great vibrations, we find these great energies, and then we connect them together. Look how more powerful we're going to be. So I just wanted to jump in again and just give that honor to Justine and definitely to Dr. Jill. Because I took so many notes earlier. I was like, oh, I got to get on the camera. And I'll tell you, they're sitting here and hearing this and bringing such phenomenal people here. And I cannot wait not only to see some of the recordings and jump in and support each other, but then follow each other and help uplift and bring more people in our communities need each and every one of you. And so thank you, Justine. Thank you for coming. I mean, you're all the way in Australia, and I know
Thank you
it's
so
crazy.
much. I know.
Right?
It's I was just thinking it's serendipity. It's so amazing, you know, like all these people coming together. The speakers have been amazing. I've learned so much. I definitely would like to know how to change a tire. I would be totally one of those women on the highway. So
Was that not
definitely.
awesome? Justine,
That was
before you
awesome.
go, though, I really want you to talk about when you were a child and you were at school and some important figure in the world spoke to your heart, which is just changed your trajectory, right? Just speaking a lot, my pronunciation. Could you speak about that moment and that pivotal moment in your life?
So
yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm honored that you would bring that up. So I originally was born in Johannesburg, South Africa. I love that country still. It's very close to my heart. And I went to a school, and it was quite a big school. And we had the honor and privilege of, I was 6 years old. Nelson Mandela came to speak at our school. And I remember sitting there as a little girl, and he was on a big stage. And I just thought, wow. But he said some words that really, really stood out to me. He said, there is no passion to be found in playing small. And I was just this little girl, and I was like, I want to be you when I grow up. So that's, I think, where my fire and drive has come from in terms of speaking. Like those little words that he said, I will never forget them as long as I live. So that was incredible.
Oh, thank you so much, Justine. You know, I just want to say that your life is definitely really interesting because that's also a metaphor that a lot of people feel like they're in. Nelson Mandela, as we all know, had been locked up for something of just being who he is, which is a world changer. And the interesting thing about it is that it didn't affect his mindset. And how interesting that you say that your mindset is so strong. And I really would like those of you who are listening today to please listen to these words and listen to these wonderful speakers, because of the fact that it doesn't matter if you feel trapped within your own mind, your situation or something, reach out. There is a way to change. Experiment with all of these lessons. Talk to Dr. Jill, talk to Josepha, learn about how you can get out from where you are and be that little girl. Like Ava said, I want to be that little girl again. Josepha said, well, you are. We all are these little girls. And to have that connection, to share your story about that with Nelson Mandela. Justine, thank you so much.
Thank
Ava,
you, Michelle.
You're ready to say something. I know you are.
Well, you know, I'm just so touched with everything that Justine has made of even her challenges to now step up to build, you know, see the best in people. Because, you know, I've seen some of the work that you've shown, from how you transformed it to very, you know, very average to making it $1 million brand. And it requires the eyes of, eyes to see someone past where they are right now, you know, to see them where they haven't even seen themselves, you know. And it's such a gift to be able to see a person at their best when they haven't even stepped up to that best yet, but you're seeing it already and you're putting that into picture already. And it's not I don't see it as a facade, but I see it as a, you know, bringing something in the future to the present. It's almost like pulling something to the present, and you create a brand out of that. But it's not an accident that Dr. Jill came in at the time that we're closing, for you, because I feel like we get the opportunity to recharge you. Dr. Jill, Justine is in heavy lockdown in Australia right now, and it's been going on so long, longer than she wishes. And I would love to see how Dr. Jill just does their magic on Everything Is Right About You. So Dr. Jill, I'm gonna invite you to speak on Justine for now.
Well, hey, everybody. I'm so glad that I was able to jump back in. And I'm such a firm believer in synchronicities. And you mentioned like the flat tire. And literally, I didn't know if I could get back in time because I was changing 4 tires on my car and getting new tires. I'm like, wait, what?
Wow.
You just
That's a
talked about
talent.
tires? I was like, oh, there's a synchronicity right there. And I love that. And, when things like that happen, it shows that your vibration is operating at a high frequency, because what's the chance of you mentioning of all the metaphors in the world, like a tire, and then the only reason why I got back is because I got my tires back on, and I love stuff like that. And, life doesn't always, as I know, we all know, whether we're in lockdown or we're not in lockdown, go according to plan. And we know it's not what happens to us. We've heard that a billion times. It's how we're responding to what happens to us. But even more important than that response, what if you ask yourself the right questions, like, I wonder what good is going to come out of this. I wonder what's going to birth from me in this environment. I wonder how this is here to help me. And in turn, when it helps me, I could use it as an instrument to help other people. I wonder why the universe put me in a room, locked me in a corner for an extended period of time, because something good is going to happen as a result of that.
Yes.
And whatever comes from that, guarantee you, I could already tell that you will take it, you will gift wrap it, you will use it, you will spread that gift out into the universe. But what if this was the only way that in this aspect of it was supposed to birth? And why don't we make the situation right? Like, how is this is a gift. If the universe is constantly working for us and with us all day, every day, that means every single moment of every single day for every single person has purpose to it. And what frustrates us is the belief that it should be something other than what it is. So if we go into radical acceptance from any moment, and we say, all right, everything's right about this. Every single thing is right about this, and everything's right about me in this. Now we approach that moment with eyes on it, like, wow, this is something good is going to come out of this. And the key word here is, Justine, is eventually. Eventually. And when you hold that space for the eventually, I guarantee you're going to text me, you're going to text all of us and say, like, oh my goodness, what birthed out of me in that extended period of time is beyond comprehension, because if you were on the go and doing, and you wouldn't have paused into it. You wouldn't have this time to reflect. You wouldn't have this time to start thinking and feeling those pressures of going inward. Change comes in 2 ways. Change by choice, like popping into this beautiful summit that y'all put on, or change by force, meaning life or the universe has a way of putting us into that position. Either one is a gift. One comes in a pretty package, one comes in an ugly package, but I promise you it's a gift just the same. So let's just stay with it. And let's look into this moment and say, like, okay, if everything's right about this moment and I'm the exact person in the exact moment in the exact situation, I'm going to make something good out of this. You just watch and see, and allow that to come through. Allow it to come through. And I bet you a book could come through, a workshop, a seminar. I can only imagine with a beautiful soul.
I feel like, Doctor, you just said everything that I'm doing right now. So it's perfect.
See,
literally.
I just spoke truth into it. I confirmed for you. So everything is right about you, and everything's right about this moment, because in this moment where you're saying, like, all right, go over there, do all that inner work, make all that, then go out there and run around the universe and start sharing it with everybody else. But you're in the production state of it, and the universe helps you out by putting you in this position.
That's right.
And everything's right about being in the production state of it. Everything is.
And I get to be stuck with stuck with all of you in lockdown, which is good, right?
Yay!
I think that's so beautiful. Life,
it's the
life
best.
is happening the perfect way that it's intended for the highest and best. And it's not if it's happening for the highest and best. It's our perception that it should be something other than it is what frustrates us, because then we're just waiting. We're like going in the water in the pool and we're holding our breath and waiting to get on the other side. And I'm like, no, breathe through it. Just breathe through it. Swim, be in it, make that situation right. And then good things will come out of it for sure. It always does.
Love it.
So good.
I love it.
Dr.
Woo,
Jill,
woo.
thank you so much. Justine, I hope that, that has served you as much as you have served all of us, with your
Thank you,
inspiration.
beautiful Ava.